Hello. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Welcome as you are finding the live stream. Let me just check. As always, I have to check to make sure that we are going like we're supposed to be going. What is happening right now? As per usual, I tend to always have some sort of technical difficulty in the beginning. Hello. Welcome. We are going to be flying by the seat of our pants today because this is probably the least prepared I've been for one of these things. Not that I don't have stuff lined up. It's just that normally I come with my notes and everything ready to go. This time I didn't really take notes. I'm just sort of working with what I've got. So let me just make sure. Yeah, we're going. Okay. Hello, how are you? When I was setting up for this live stream, this by the way is a very polyester, non-breathable, I'm starting to burn up in it dress, just sort of a vintage number I got on eBay a number of years ago. I'm only wearing it today and being over the top because I actually did wear this one year to my family's Thanksgiving holiday dinner. So I figured, well, I as a tribute to this time of year, I'll wear it again. But then as I was setting up for this live stream, I was noticing just how freaking white it is behind me. And I was like, we need some color. So I ran and got a leaf garland, got my pumpkin with my beetle, nod to Frankenstein, not even intentional, by the way, but happy little accident, and pop that up there just to match the dress a little bit better. So hi, welcome to Don't Watch It Nights Creepy Cocktail Hour number 11. My name is Valerie. I am one half of the host of Don't Watch It Night, which is a podcast dedicated to lifting up Latin American horror and Spanish language horror. It's a podcast that I host with my sister Veronica. And these creepy cocktail hours are part of our Patreon perks for our Patreon friends. And every so often we toss out one to the broader public. And so this is one of those times. So welcome if you're new to us and you're just now learning about us. We hope you will go find our podcast. We are available on anywhere you get podcasts, Spotify, Apple. We post those episodes on YouTube as well. And another Patreon perk is that you get a video episode every month. And so, as a matter of fact, this month's video episode, they will be getting tomorrow morning in their inbox. So the rest of you guys will be getting an audio episode wherever podcasts stream on Monday. So you can look forward to that. But let's see. Let's talk a little bit about what we're going to be doing today. So we are going to make a cocktail called Sister Midnight, and we're going to be talking about some of the most cursed and or haunted or haunted film sets of the Hollywood industry. So some of those might be horror sets, but some of them might not be. It's just, those productions that you would hear about on like the remember like the True Hollywood Story or whatever it was called back in the day. And it would be a discussion of here's everything that happened on the set of Poltergeist in 1982, something like that. So we'll be talking a little bit about that, but let's get to the cocktail first of all. I'm trying to, and then we'll get to like other little regular things that I want to fill you guys in on as we have time. Okay. Now, the other fun thing about today is that because I was so rushed getting ready for this live stream, I did not get a chance to pre-measure out ingredients as I would have liked to. Those of you who have been with our creepy cocktail hour since the beginning know that I had a little gin spill in, I think, like cocktail hour number 1. And so ever since then, I'm like, we're not going to do that again. We're going to, I'll pre-measure everything out before the live stream, and then you'll just see me kind of pour it in and do all that stuff. But I didn't have time to do that today. So here I go. Wish me luck. The one thing I do want to talk to you about with regards to this cocktail, Sister Midnight. So I originally found this from a guy who he runs the Anatomy of a Drink space on Instagram. He's like a bartender influencer type person. And so he posts a lot of really fun, elegant drink recipes on his handle on Instagram is, I believe it's Anatomy of a Drink. And so he posted something a long time ago called Sister Midnight. And I was reading, and I linked it for you guys in show notes. If you're part of, not in show notes, but in the resources for this chat, if you're part of our Patreon. If you're not part of our Patreon, if you're watching over on YouTube somewhere, you're not going to have these resources in front of you. You didn't get them ahead of time. But as soon as the live stream's over, I will be posting those up there on YouTube as well, so that you can kind of go back and see what it was that we were talking about, what we discussed. And some things I might even share online here. As a matter of fact, maybe this one would be a good one to share over the stream with you guys, because I am able to do that. So this cocktail apparently comes by way of Death & Co., Death & Company, which I have a couple of their books. The book that he apparently pulled this from is Welcome Home, which is a book that I have right here. And this is a great, like, if you're a lover of cocktails as I am, this is a great book. They have this one, and they have Cocktail Codex. They may have one more, and I don't know if they do. I don't know what it is. But it's really, really good fundamental basics for, your cocktail connoisseurs out there. Even if you're just like me, if you're just somebody who likes a good craft cocktail, and you and your significant other like to enjoy those at home. So I bought Cocktail Codex first. Actually, I think my spouse did. And then I bought Welcome Home after that. And so somewhere in here apparently is the Sister Midnight drink. But I went looking for it, and I can't find it. Granted, I didn't look for it that hard, but it is in there somewhere. But let me share with you his website just so you can see it. And I think that might give you a good visual. Okay, here we go. So Sister Midnight, his name is Daniel E. Zajic, if I'm saying that right. And so Sister Midnight is a drink that calls for Jamaican rum. And here he lists that he used Appleton Estate Signature. That is not what I used. We'll get to what I used in a second, or what I'm using, I should say. And then he's using a Jamaican rum, and then he's using an overproof Jamaican rum. I wish that I could tell you what the distinction is here. I could probably look it up real quick. And then he is using yellow chartreuse and spiced pear liqueur. I do not, currently where I am, yellow chartreuse is just not something that I can get. Every time that I go to my local liquor store that I go to, they don't have it. There's just a shortage. They're not able to have it in stock. So I am using Benedictine, because that is reportedly a substitute that you can use in place of yellow chartreuse. So, and then the spiced pear liqueur, he uses St. George, and that is what I happen to have on hand as well. And I'm happy that I found a cocktail that calls for spiced pear liqueur, because I've been coming across a number of holiday recipes that also utilize this. And so I've never tried it in a cocktail. So I tried it last night. Very sweet, very nice. And I think it'll go really well for cocktails as you gather around family dinner tables next week, if you celebrate. So let me stop share real quick. Okay, so let's see. Overproof rum. So I don't have the Appleton whatever, but yeah, it just references that it contains a higher alcohol content, generally defined as being over 80 proof, 40% ABV, often much higher. So what I have is the Smith & Cross traditional Jamaican rum. If you go into Death & Co., what's really great about these books, Cocktail Codex and Death & Co., Welcome Home, is that they'll give you sort of what their go-to standard spirits are that they keep in bar for cocktails. So, for instance, Elijah Craig. Elijah Craig is the name of the bourbon that is kind of their go-to that they have as a staple in their bar for their old fashions and a number of other bourbon-based drinks. Because it's good, it's decent enough. Maybe if you want a bourbon that stands on its own, you might go for something a little bit nicer, neater, smoother finish. But Elijah Craig, as a basic middle of the road bourbon, is great, and it's great in a cocktail. So Smith & Cross traditional Jamaican rum is apparently the rum that they keep on shelves for cocktails. So I went with that because it's a Death & Co. kind of stamp of approval spirit. But I didn't get like the Appleton estate signature. I don't have two different kinds of rum. So I'm just going to be working with Smith & Cross. And so where the recipe calls for 1.5 ounces of Jamaican rum, Apple Estate, and then a 1/2 ounce of overproof Jamaican rum, I am going to be doing, and as I say this out loud, I'm questioning that, but we're going to commit. I am going to be doing a full 2 ounces of the traditional Smith & Cross Jamaican rum, knowing that it is listed as an overproof rum, so slightly stronger, because it is over 40%. It's at 50% ABV. So it says on the bottle, here, let me show you the bottle. It says on the bottle, Navy strength. We're drinking Navy strength rum, okay? So that'll be fun. And then I've got the St. George Spice Pear Liqueur. We're going to do a 1/2 ounce of this. And then we're going to do a 1/2 ounce of the Benedictine. It kind of has like an orange, citrusy flavor profile to it. So I think all of this together will be good. I think all of this together will be sweet, because rum being somewhat sweet, in my opinion, and Benedictine being a little bit sweet. And all of these together, I think will make a really beautiful cocktail and potentially a really sweet one. So let's delay no further. Let me get some ice. I'm going to attempt to be still plugged into you here as I do this. Although getting further away. Let me get some ice real quick. I do have a glass chilling in the freezer. So I'm going to start with, hold on, let me point this up. I'm going to start with the traditional Jamaican rum. This is the part where I feel a little bit like I'm on a cooking show. I wish this was higher up so you could see it, but I'm going to attempt to do this near all the text. So I'm going to do 2 ounces of this, 2 full ounces of my traditional Jamaican rum. Please do not spill, Valerie. Oh, jeez. I did it. Okay. Of that, at least I did it. Okay. 2 ounces of that. I'm going to do a 1/2 ounce of spiced pear liqueur. It's a really pretty bottle. Lately, I've been really into like keeping bottles like this because they're really, you take the labels off, wash them up. They're really good to keep on hand for if you ever need to like, did I just say, this is why I can't talk and do this at the same time. I'm not going to do a full ounce of this because that is too much. So I'm going to take a little bit off that. I cannot be trusted. I cannot be trusted. There we go. 1/2 ounce. And a little bit of a mess. It's fine. And then 1/2 ounce of Benedictine. 1/2 ounce, Valerie. Get it right. Get it right. Thank God I caught myself. I did the same thing last night too. Like I start pouring the spiced pear liqueur and something in me wants to pour a full ounce of it, but like that would not, I don't think that would taste good. I think that would be entirely too much. You know what I didn't do beforehand? I didn't like have a plate upon which to put my dirty stuff. Oh, well. Okay. For looking as fabulous as I look, this is the most disorganized cocktail hour we've had in a while. Okay, so now I'm going to stir. If you follow Spirited LA on Instagram, she'll always, I rarely see her shake it up. She will, but she mostly stirs, and she's always like 50 stirs or 30 stirs. The other thing she's fond of saying is like when she's talking about using fresh juices and things like that is she'll always say it must be fresh. She's my favorite. I think I've talked about her on a couple of cocktail hours before. I love her. She's amazing. She comes up with these great drinks. She's she'll come up with these crazy cocktails sometimes, very experimental. And then she'll sprinkle in with her videos just a little bit of quirky trivia and history, usually centered around World War II era, World War I. She's kind of a history buff that way. The other guy I recently found that I've been obsessed with lately, I've been obsessed with his videos, Cooking with Congress. I forget what his name is, but he's a guy who just sort of goes around sort of replicating the recipes of politicians in the United States political sphere, all the way from like James Garfield, Richard Nixon, like the thing he ate on the day he left office, which I think was some sad pears, cottage cheese or something. Okay, I think that's enough. Just get carried away talking. Okay, so now I'm going to get it smells so, you're smelling that rum mixed with that, what is it, spiced pear. Okay, so here is my frosted glass. Those of you who've been with me since the beginning know I love a frosted glass. You should always, if you can, serve your martinis up in a frosted glass. Oh my goodness, that's a lot. That is a lot. Probably should have thought to get a bigger coupe. Okay, here it is. This is my drink. This is the Sister Midnight. Let's give it a taste. Oh, wow. That's really good. The rum pairs really nicely with the spiced pear. So it kind of tones it down a little bit. Last night when I was trying it for the first time, hang on guys, I'm reaching to get some napkins. Last night when I was trying it for the first time, I was trying it with a bourbon. That makes it sound like I'm just knocking back drinks all the time. The reason I tried it last night is because I wanted to see what it tasted like before I did this on the live stream. So I tried it just one with a bourbon, and bourbon also being kind of sweet. It was really sweet in my opinion, but not unenjoyable. See, now I'm like so much lower. But the rum is a great complement to this. Let me try it again now that I have my station a little bit cleaner. Yeah, it's just nice and smooth and elegant. You could imagine sitting in a Death & Co. bar location and them serving you this. It's just really lovely. In the photo that he has, again, I'm going to share this one more time with you just so you can see it, because I don't think I showed it to you. I think I showed you the recipe, but not the actual photo. So he doesn't garnish with anything, so I didn't either. And that's a beautiful glass that it's served up in. But yeah, this is just really, really nice. I wonder if I had another rum, a more standard rum, and if I had the yellow chartreuse, I have to wonder how much more different it might taste. But that's really good. That's a good cocktail. And if you're looking to make it a little bit more punch friendly for, like, say, a family dinner, you could maybe throw in, experiment. You could throw in something like a cider. You could maybe also throw in a little bit of a ginger ale or something, or a ginger beer, to sort of add a little bit of, those quintessential punch flavors that everybody loves, that make it a little bit more of like a standard party drink. So, but as a cocktail on its own, a craft cocktail, this is really lovely. And I'll have to experiment. This might be the one that I build a party punch off of for my family. We'll see. Who may or may not be watching this later, and so then they'll know what's headed their way. A very strong rum. Happy Thanksgiving. So, okay, let's get to the other things that we're going to talk about today. Before we get into anything, and I'm going to bring it up now before I forget. If you guys haven't, I talk about it. Oh, Jesus. I talk about it. Oh my God, that's scary. On the episode coming out Monday. If you haven't seen Frankenstein on Netflix, simply must. We do have a video posted up on our YouTube channel right now where I talked about my thoughts on it after having seen it with my family. So, and I've now seen it twice since then. I need to see it one more time. I think I saw somewhere some Guillermo del Toro say something about like, you see a movie once, you're dating. You see a movie 3 times, it's marriage or something like that. So I need to marry the Netflix Frankenstein. But I did get a hold of my book, my big, huge art book. It's Frankenstein by Sheila O'Malley, introduction written by Oscar Isaac, with a foreword by Guillermo del Toro. It is gorgeous. I have looked at it. I've been through it once. I need to go through it more in depth, but the amount of beautiful, beautiful illustrations all in this book, his early sketches of Frankenstein from like 1987. It's all there. Just amazing. Like there's some fun collector things in here that are so awesome. This is my most prized possession right now. Like if our house was burning down, I would gather up my family, gather up whatever I could in the way of like important jewelry, and I'd grab this. I'm not kidding. I'd grab this and the ashes of my dog, my beloved dog. But yeah, if you don't have that, put it on your Christmas list. It's so great. I bought it for my family. It's not just mine, but I did let them know. I was like, when you look through this book, you look through it with care. I want you to look through. My kids are like in their teens and preteens, and then I have a little one. But for the older ones, it was like, I want you to look into this book. I want you to be inspired by everything that's in here. Pour over it and study it, but be careful with these pages. It's precious. So yeah, just wanted to show that to you guys because I was eagerly awaiting it. It finally showed up. We sat down together. We looked at it together. It was gorgeous, and I'm so happy that I have it. And so if you don't have it yet, but you want it, let the people in your life know. Buy that for you for Christmas. It's a great gift. So, okay, let's get to the topic at hand: cursed Hollywood sets. So, one of the resources that our Patreon folks would have received is an article from metro.co.uk that's called 13 Cursed Horror Films from Tragic Onset Deaths to Mysterious Haunted Props. So this came out in June of this year. And it's pretty fun because there's a number of things that have long been like out there in the ether. We all know about them. We've all read about them, or like I said, seen the True Hollywood Story. But there's a couple things we don't know. So newer on the list, the movie The Deliverance, not Deliverance, The Deliverance by Lee Daniels, which came out on Netflix, had reported several strange incidents of its own. So one after another that had fans kind of, circulating conversation online about, wondering if something was cursed about the set. So as an example, the cast and the crew of Netflix, and I'm reading from the article, the cast and the crew of the Netflix hit reportedly held prayer circles after Lee Daniels, the director, after his dog died, and actor Monique was rushed to the hospital. There were evidently it was a scene where like Monique was doing a scene with him. She says, Mr. Daniels had me doing a scene and we're outside. It was just the demon was supposed to be on top of the building. So they kept blowing this. I mean, at one point I'm like, Lee, do we have this? Because I can't breathe. So when I got finished, my thyroid was a big, like it's ... I'm not sure what she was saying, but she was just really, really sick. So Lee Daniels also revealed that his sister had been diagnosed with lung cancer 2 days after filming the chemotherapy scene with Glenn Close. And so it was just one thing after another with that set. And then you have 1973's The Exorcist, which I think most of us all know about, but it really is sort of interesting to go back and discuss it again. There were lots of delays on that set. Like shortly before filming the horror movie, the set of Reagan and Chris McNeil's home burned down unexpectedly. There were more delays with Linda Blair and Max von Sydow, who played Reagan and Father Merrin. They both lost family members during the course of this production. Other things that went wrong: Linda Blair and Ellen Burstyn, who starred as Chris. Both of them sustained injuries on the set. Linda Blair's was pretty severe. It was a fractured spine during that memorable bed possession scene. And this was an injury that would go on to impact her it was a lifetime. It had lifetime implications. That's what I'm trying to say. There was also reportedly one crew member who lost a toe, another one who lost a thumb. And across the production of The Exorcist, the article says 9 deaths occurred, including that of Jack McGowran, who played Burt Dennings. There was The Omen. Now, The Omen had so much going wrong with it that it just no, it's sticky. Where I spilled it. Sorry, guys. It's so good. I'm just noticing. Sorry to break the flow. I'm just noticing that on the back of the Smith and Cross bottle, they have 2 recipes. One for something called Million, which is 1.75 ounces of Jamaican rum, 0.75 ounces, 3/4 ounce of lemon juice, 3/4 ounce simple syrup. I'm assuming I didn't finish that sentence. 2 dashes of Angostura, shaken, cocktail, lime. And then the other one is the Doctor, which calls for 1 ounce Swedish punch, PUNSCH, 1 ounce Jamaican rum, 1 ounce lime juice. These are interesting recipes. I'll have to do some research on these recipes and find out from whence their origins come and try them out. Okay, anyway, sorry. The Omen. Here we are, The Omen. Lucifer, I'm just going to read because there's so much that went wrong in this production. I'm just going to read from the article because they capture it all and I don't want to miss anything in the discussion of this. So Lucifer himself appeared to be trying to stop The Omen in its tracks back in 1976. 2 months before filming began, Robert Thorne, actor Gregory Peck, was struck by tragedy when his son took his own life. That I did know. I did know that, shortly before production started, his son took his life. So, and the tragedy of that and whether or not he was even going to be able to show up to the production, knowing that now when you go back and watch it, and I just rewatched it this year during Halloween season, it's just amazing that he could even show up to set and work through that. So let's see what else. Later in October 1975, Peck was traveling to London to film The Omen when his airplane was struck by lightning, and bizarrely, not the only time that happened during this production. A few weeks later, Mace Neufeld, who was a producer, was traveling to set when his airplane was struck by lightning, and screenwriter David Seltzer also experienced the same weird freak accident. So, planes were going up in the air and getting struck by lightning. Tell me that's not, the universe telling you, boys, put down the camera, reconsider what you're doing. A few weeks later, when filming began in Rome, producer Harvey Bernard narrowly avoided being hit by lightning himself, proving once and for all that lightning can strike twice and more. A stroke of luck saw the crew avoid death when the charter plane they were set to use for an aerial shot was used by a group of businessmen, and the plane crashed, killing everyone on board. So how I interpret that article is like a plane that they were supposed to have access to. They ended up not being able to use because it was used by another party. That plane crashed. Everyone aboard that plane died. So thankfully, the crew wasn't on that plane because they too would have been dead. The hotel the director Richard Donner had been staying in was bombed by the IRA. That I also did know the day after filming. And a zookeeper at the safari park where they filmed the baboon scene was killed by a lion, also the day after those scenes were shot. That I also knew. Some of these things you hear about, like I said, you probably know all this stuff already, but it's so freaking bizarre. A serious accident could have occurred on set when dogs used in a scene turned on a stuntman and could not be called off by their handlers. But the most infamous tragedy that is attributed to the Omen is that of Liz Moore's death. She was the assistant and girlfriend of John Richardson, the film's special effects expert. The duo were involved in a car accident in the Netherlands in 1976. While Richards escaped the wreck largely unscathed, Moore was decapitated. Particularly notable because in the film, the guy who plays the reporter, whose name it's escaping me right now, he gets decapitated in the movie. So what makes it also even more terrifying is that the accident happened on Friday the 13th, and when John came to following this accident, he noticed a road sign that read Omen, spelled OMMEN, comma 66.6 kilometers. Freaky. That's freaky. That I didn't know. That's interesting. I knew about the decapitation because it's just so ironic given one of the deaths in one of the freak accidents in the movie. But I didn't know that about him seeing a road sign that said that. That's freaky. That would mess me up. Okay. The next one on the list is one that I knew everything about this already because I did watch the True Hollywood Story on this, because Poltergeist, 1982's Poltergeist, is one of my favorite movies. I do consider it my birth year movie because it came out, according to IMDb anyway, US release on Poltergeist was the day of my birth, which I'll just tell you is in June 1982. You can go on IMDb and look it up for yourself, but it's the day of my birth. So I look at this as just like, this is my horror movie. This is my origin story, if you will. So we all know about the death of Heather O'Rourke, who played Carol Ann. But here's an interesting tidbit that you might not have thought about in this context. Before the third Poltergeist film was released in 1988, 4 cast members had died already, including Heather O'Rourke, who played Carol Ann in the original production. I was also aware of Dominic Dunn's tragic passing, and we'll talk about that too. But O'Rourke was just 12 years old when she died of congenital stenosis of the intestine complicated by septic shock on February 1st of 1988, before filming of the third film even wrapped. So in that same year that the first film was released, the 82 film, Dominic Dunn, who played Dana, the oldest sister, who you really don't see a ton of in the movie. She's not in the movie a ton, but she was the oldest sister, Dana. She was strangled by her ex-boyfriend, John Thomas Sweeney, in the driveway of her home. And that's another one that there have been many specials done. I think that also had a True Hollywood Story. Just very tragic partner violence that she endured for a long time before that death. So really terrible story of what happened to a very beautiful, talented actress, gone way ahead of her time. It's horrible, as is the death of Heather O'Rourke, another beautiful, talented actress who God knows what she could have gone on to do, right? She was a child. Dominic Dunn fell into a coma, and she died 5 days later on November 4th of 1982. Taylor actor Will Sampson died aged 53 from post-operative kidney failure in 1987. And Lou Perryman, who played Pugsley, was murdered by Seth Christopher Tatum in 2009 during a robbery. Oliver Robbins, who played Robbie Freeling, the little boy, was also almost killed while filming a scene where that freaking clown that attacks him in the movie, had a mechanical malfunction and was like choking him for real. And so like that could have turned very deadly very fast. And thankfully it didn't. But hello, talk about cementing your fear of clowns for forever. I know that I was freaked out by clowns following that movie, but to know that happened to him during the filming of that scene, all the more tragic and horrific. Next on the list is another movie that we all know the tragedies behind as well. The Crow. Actor Brandon Lee, who was the son of Bruce Lee, fatally shot on the set of The Crow when a prop gun was accidentally loaded with real bullet, and it hit him in the abdomen and it caused his death. That happened like during production. So while that could be easily attributed to a freak accident, what makes it so much more creepy is the fact that he had apparently predicted his own death after having a premonition that he would die suddenly. Brandon is said to have believed his family was cursed after his grandfather had angered a businessman who put a curse on them. His dad, Bruce Lee, also died at 32 after apparently having a premonition that he would only live half the time of his father, who died at 64 due to the curse. That's also incredibly tragic, because 32 is so young. The Twilight Zone, the movie. This is going to be news to me. We're just reading this together and talking about great cocktails. If you're drinking, I'm gonna be lit after this cocktail. I need to eat something after this cocktail. I've not had dinner yet. It's not the dinner hour. This is a stiff one for it being 3:00 in the afternoon. I went running. I got my workout in. So I'm done for the day. After this, I can eat and just maybe take a nap. But this is by far one of the strongest cocktails I've made on Creepy Cocktail Hour. I feel confident about that. Okay. I don't have water. I'm near my fridge. I can get water. Twilight Zone, the movie, released in 1983, suffered a terrible tragic accident on set when 3 cast members were killed filming the timeout segment. Actor Victor Morrow, who played Bill Connor in the film. I didn't see this film, by the way. I've watched many episodes of The Twilight Zone, but I've never seen the movie. And 2 child actors. So Victor Morrow and 2 child actors who had allegedly been illegally hired were decapitated, crushed, and killed on set when a low-flying helicopter spun out of control. Jesus. The 3 were killed while filming a scene featuring heavy explosions when debris from the explosions flew 100 feet in the air and damaged the helicopter's rotor. I can't remember what movie it was, guys. When I was a kid in the 80s, early 90s, whatever, you know how your parents would just watch stuff and you would just, like, they would watch stuff for themselves. Nowadays, I don't get to watch stuff for myself. It gets vetoed by the people that I share this house with. But I'm finally getting to a point now in my 40s where I'm like, no, I'm going to watch what I want to watch. And if you want to be here with me to watch it, great. And if you don't, you can go upstairs, you can go outside. You have lots of options. So anyway, I'm losing my train of thought. But I remember a scene in a movie that involved a helicopter and a dude, and the helicopter flies over his head and essentially scalps him. I cannot remember the name of the movie, but ever since, like, talk about core memories. Here I am in my 40s. I've never forgotten it. It has made me afraid of helicopters ever since. Like, the idea of people standing under helicopters while the thing is going messes. I'm not okay with that. So yeah, like when people duck, I totally understand that. And it's you couldn't catch me under the helicopter with a rotor or, the fans going. So during the subsequent trial, director John Landis denied culpability for the accident, but admitted that hiring of the child actors, Micah Din Lee, who was 7, and Renee Shinyi Chen, 6, was wrong. God, 6 and 7. And they were killed by that. Oh, that's horrific. Landis, associate producer George Folsey Jr., production manager Dan Allingham, pilot Dorsey Wingo, and explosive specialist Paul Stewart were later acquitted on charges of manslaughter. Wow, I didn't know that, guys. I didn't know. Maybe what if this is the movie? Hold on. Stop the show. Because what if I'm scarred by the movie of that and I didn't know it? I doubt it. I'll have to ask my mom if she knows what movie that might have been. I have no idea. Anyway, moving on. The Ring 2. I didn't know there were tragedies about The Ring 2. The Ring 2, directed by Hideo Nakata, was released in 2005. I doubt I said that right, and I'm sorry. And had some very strange phenomena take place that suspiciously mimic the events of the film. Nakata was once revealed in an interview that water is used in the film to symbolize someone's evil spirit, and during production, the production office began flooding. The film's set's costume designer, Janine Bordafs, witnessed a strange occurrence on the Universal lot in which a deer, reported to be 6 feet tall, ran at her. She continued that if she had been 6 feet ahead, the deer would have plowed into her at almost 100 miles an hour. Seems implausible. This is particularly spooky, as in the film, there's a scene in which Samara attempts to kill Rachel, Naomi Watts, and Aiden, David Dorfman, with a deer. So interesting. I never, disclosure, I saw The Ring. I did not see The Ring 2. I think, when did The Ring 2 come out? That just, it glossed over my brain that might have been out 2005. We were going through like life events in 2005. I was in California at the time in 2005. I was probably dirt poor. I couldn't afford to go to the movies. Annabelle, a film I've not seen. This Halloween season, I made it a point to get educated on all the Conjuring films. I've seen all the Conjurings except the most recent one that just had theatrical release. Because when that comes to streaming, I'll watch it. It might already be. I haven't checked, but I've not seen the Annabelles because I don't like dolls. Even though I have my own little cursed creepy doll locked away in a enclosed bookcase in my, what I like to call the study, but it's an office. But I call it the study because I'm fancy. So Annabelle, for a film about a cursed doll, you would probably expect some eerie happenings on set, but maybe not this horrific. Before the first Annabelle film and its sequel, Annabelle Comes Home, some very freaky stuff happened during filming, including light fixtures that would fall, and the film's Annabelle doll moving on its own. Producer Peter Sarfan told the Hollywood Reporter, "Damn, maybe I need water, guys. We shot in this amazing old apartment building near Koreatown, and we had some funky stuff go down. I lived near Koreatown when I was in LA, so special times. I loved that apartment. Had a great closet. It was a very Sex and the City style closet." He says, in particular, the first day that the demon was shooting in full makeup, we brought him up in the elevator. He walks out and walks around to the green room to where we're holding the talent. And just as he walks under, the entire glass light fixture falls down on his head. And in the script, the demon kills the janitor in the hallway. It was a freaky coincidence. The doll itself is based on a real haunted doll investigated by Ed and Lorraine Warren, who are fictionalized in these films, as well as the Conjuring franchise. I mean, I enjoy the Conjuring franchise, even as I know the controversy around Ed and Lorraine Warren, and I think that controversy is honestly I think it's warranted. I think it's warranted. But I enjoyed the movies, and maybe I should watch Annabelle. I'm just really scared. Dolls freak me out, guys. Dolls that move on their own freak me out. Children possessed by demons or just being creepy, that freaks me out. I noticed Weapons is on HBO. I had not seen Weapons. I missed it in theaters because, hello, busy mom of 3 children. But I want to watch it. I do. I just haven't yet. But I based off the trailer, there's some kids doing creepy things, and so it caused some pause during the Halloween season. But now that the Halloween season has passed, maybe assuming it's still available, maybe I could give it a watch. Yeah. So let's see, where were we? The doll itself is based, we said that. In the sequel, Madison Eisman said that when she would enter the Warrens' bedroom set, she would find the Annabelle doll in different positions each time, despite no one entering or exiting the room. Do you think somebody was doing that on purpose? Do you think a crew member was doing that? I wonder. Star McKenna Grace also reported experiencing a sudden nosebleed during rehearsals, and that one trailer had a strange power outage that the crew could not find the source of. I mean, that stuff happens. I'm not so freaked out by that. I don't know about that. Okay, so now we get into Rosemary's Baby. This was another one that I revisited during the Halloween season. And I watched it also. I revisit it time to time, Rosemary's Baby. It's a good movie. And it's trippy. There's portions of the film that feel like a little trippy art film. But yeah, let's talk about what happened there. Rosemary's Baby centers on a pregnant woman who believes an evil cult wants to take her baby to use it in their dark rituals. but the stories that surround the making of the 1968 movie are enough to make the hairs on the back of your neck stand up. It came out in 1968. I thought it came out later. Okay, so here's one. The most famous being the death of Roman Polanski's pregnant wife, Sharon Tate, who was brutally murdered by Charles Manson's followers a year after the film was released. I didn't realize that. I didn't realize it was a year after the film was released. Producer William Castle also suffered sudden kidney failure after receiving hate mail about the film and apparently screamed, "Rosemary, for God's sake, drop the knife," as he was being admitted to the hospital. He later died of a heart attack. Wow. I didn't know that. Wow. The composer, Christoph Komeda, also died of a brain clot a year after the film was released in a weirdly similar way to how Rosemary's friend, Hutch, dies in the movie. Wow. I believe Hutch is the older gentleman who is the friend of both of them and is kind of advising them, hey, you shouldn't be living in that apartment. In another bizarre coincidence, Beatles star John Lennon was shot and killed outside the building in which Rosemary's apartment scenes were shot. Side note, first, all of that terrible. But side note, Rosemary's apartment, gorgeous. When they move into that apartment, it's gorgeous. And one of my beefs with the film is, although like I love what they did too. I love it both ways. But if I had been moving into their apartment, I don't think I would have changed it. I would have kept it with as it was, with dark wood features and what Rosemary and her husband, whose name I can't, is it Guy? I think it's Guy. But they go and they just, everything's white, everything's modernized and brightened up, and that's nice also. But I loved the original wood features of that apartment, and you see some of the original wood features as they were when you go to their neighbor's apartment, the older couple who are feeding, I forget their names, but they're feeding them and offering them drink and luring him specifically into the cult. I believe his name is Guy, but I could be wrong. Okay, so how are we doing? Everybody checking in? We're doing okay? I'm barely hanging on. I'm going to keep drinking my drink though. Whatever. Interesting story coming up next. You would think, when we're talking about the Amityville Horror, you would think that we would be talking about the original one as being the cursed set, but no. We're talking about the 2005 one, the one with Ryan Reynolds, the one where Ryan Reynolds was suddenly buff and attractive. So the 9th installment of the Amityville series, 2005's The Amityville Horror, focuses on the reported experiences of the Lutz family after they moved into a house in Long Island where Ronald DeFeo Jr. murdered 6 members of his family in 1974 before they moved out just 28 days later after apparently being terrorized by the paranormal. All 6 of the victims were found face down in their beds with no signs of a struggle, despite police finding that the rifle used to kill them had not been fitted with a sound suppressor and they hadn't been drugged with sedatives before their deaths. None of the family's neighbors reported hearing any gunshots, and those who were awake at that time of the murders say they only heard the family's sheepdog Shaggy barking. Ryan Reynolds, who plays George Lutz in the film, reported that he and members of the crew kept waking up at 3:15 a.m. every day, which was the time Ronald DeFeo Jr. was said to have murdered his parents and 4 siblings. So he and the crew, members of the crew, were just waking up like that. When I frequently wake up? I will frequently wake up at 2 or 2:30 in the morning. That's my wake up time, where I'll just stir. Before filming began, sorry guys, I'm reading in real time. Before filming began, a dead body of a fisherman who also washed up on shore by the film set, and the real Kathy Lutz also died during filming. Okay, so the real Kathy Lutz died during the filming of this movie, which is interesting. I wonder how old she was. We'll have to look that up. Now we get into one of my favorite movies. Guys, where are we on time? We're going long. Sorry. I'll whip through it because I still have more stuff to show you. This isn't it. We're not done yet. We're still not done yet. Okay, so Elizabeth, the Curse of Emily Rose. I don't know why I said Elizabeth. The Curse of Emily Rose is one of my favorite movies, and stars Jennifer Carpenter and Laura Linney. A brilliantly acted film, in my opinion. Jennifer once claimed that a radio would inexplicably turn on in the middle of the night, which Scott confirmed to be true in a Twitter post. Scott, when I talk about Scott, I'm talking about, I don't know who I'm talking about. It doesn't say. Okay. Well, Scott Derrickson. Sorry. Scott Derrickson, director of The Exorcism of Emily Rose. Scott confirmed that. And she said it would play one section of the Pearl Jam song Alice over and over again, repeating the lyric, I'm still alive. Can I tell you a real quick story? There was one night in our old house where I woke up. We had a radio in the living room, and around 2:33 in the morning, it comes on low level. Thank God it didn't wake anybody up, but it was playing Highway to Hell. I forget who sings that. Is it AC/DC? I don't know. But Highway to Hell was playing in the living room in the middle of the night. So we're on the highway to hell. I woke up and turned it off and was just like freaked out. I was like, why is this on? It wasn't one, it was an old radio. It wasn't one that had like a timer or anything. It wasn't possible for it to turn on by itself. So I have no idea. Let's see what else. Was there anything else? She also said that Laura, as in Laura's Linney, presumably, Laura's TV came on a couple of times with Scott taking to social media to confirm that chilling story also. This is true. Laura Linney's radio turned on at night 3 times during production. And we're gonna wrap it up here, guys, because like I'm recognizing that I'm going long. So other movies that are featured in this article, The Innkeepers and Insidious Chapter 2. So the reason I want to go ahead and wrap it there is because there's one more article I wanted to go over with you guys just briefly, real quick. If you go to, okay, I'm not going to have time to do there's an article from faroutmagazine.co where it talks about Wes Craven, screenwriter, basically went mad after being cursed. Please go give that a read. YouTubers, I'm going to link it for you right after this. Go give it a read. It's talking about the movie, the 1988 horror film, The Serpent and the Rainbow. And the screenwriter for that film kind of went down, kind of spiraled, looking at voodoo and voodoo practices, and went to go see a voodoo expert and had a really trippy experience, a little bit drug induced. And so go read that. It's very interesting. He's okay. He's not, clinically unwell, but he had a bad experience. But very quickly, before we close it out, guys, Crime Reads. crimereads.com has it has an article, The Most Haunted Movies in Hollywood History. So I'm just going to read you a little bit about a particular Universal Pictures stage called Stage 28. So from the article, if you want to find any kind of origin to the madness, you'll have to go back to July of 1924. That's when Universal Pictures began constructing Stage 28 on its lot in LA. The 21,000 square foot stage was built to house the enormous sets for films like 1925's The Phantom of the Opera. And it's important to note that that included an extravagant opera house at the heart of the story. Tragedy strikes when, during filming, an electrician fell from the catwalks above and died. The set would go on to double for the Royal Albert Hall in Dracula of 1931. And Stage 28 is also where they had Frankenstein's laboratory for The Bride of Frankenstein in 1935 and the Bates Motel for Psycho in 1960. Workers routinely reported sightings of a ghost on the sound stage over the years before its demolition in 2014. Although it's telling that most claimed they saw the ghost of Lon Chaney, star of The Phantom of the Opera, rather than the unfortunate electrician who died. So there's more stuff to go through in this article, some of which we've already covered. The Omen being among them. They do briefly talk about The Wizard of Oz of 1939 and the theory that a hanged munchkin can be glimpsed in the background of one scene, but that has proven to be not accurate. So it's a fake. But they do talk about The Exorcist and The Omen, and so go and give that film a look, or not that film, that article a look, and that's it. The bulk of everything else is just that Wes Craven article and the rest of that Crime Queens article. So, friends, thank you so much for tuning in with me. I will tell you, we have our film, guys, I'm done. I need water. Whatever. Salut. Uh, don't worry. I'm going to go eat after this. Monday we have Boys from County Hill, our episode on Boys from County Hill, posting on social media, and we're podcast stream. And then after that, for December, we're going to have one episode where we will be discussing a film, and then the other episode of December will be probably a compilation of some sort. On the episode you're going to get Monday, I talk about how, like, oh, it'll be something for Patreon. I think I've decided against that. I think I've decided we have enough of a back catalog at this point that we can pull together some fun Christmassy themed films that you can enjoy for the month of December. So we're going to pull that together and share that with you as our second episode of December. And then in January, we want to be able to share with you. It's coming out on the episode on Monday, but we're going to share with you here on our Creepy Cocktail Hour that the upcoming book that we are doing is going to be, hold on, I want to make sure I get it right because I haven't. Yes, Children of Chicago by Cynthia Pelayo. It's our first time reading her. We've been waiting to read her. She's a great author, and we're so excited. So Children of Chicago. And the discussion episode for that will be coming to you in end of January. It'll be our second January episode. So just a little bit about it real quick. A gripping modern day spin on the Pied Piper fairy tale, as well as a gritty love letter to the underworld of Chicago from acclaimed Bram Stoker nominee winner Cynthia Pelayo. So I will not read the full thing for it because I don't think that I can. I think that I need to go eat. So I appreciate you sticking with me as you watch me just get further and further lost in this drink. I thought I could handle overproof rum, but being that I'm not a big rum drinker, I don't ever drink rum. Maybe that was a mistake. Maybe that was a mistake for my first live stream with rum. That's on me. I apologize, friends. And next time I will make sure that I pay attention to that overproof note and maybe second guess what I can and can't do while also talking on a live stream. Okay. Love you guys so much. Thank you so much for tuning in and for supporting our channel, for supporting our podcast in whatever way you can, whether it's through Patreon membership or through just listening, being a subscriber on our show. Thank you so much for that. And we have many great things planned in the weeks and months and year ahead. So I hope you'll stick with us. Have a wonderful holiday season. This is not the last time you'll see me before, whatever, end of the holiday season, but have a wonderful start to holiday season. And I will see you again